Graduated college, I've started a family, I've started a business before, I've done all sorts of cool stuff, but getting sober and staying sober is the toughest thing that I've ever had to do. It has literally, taken everything away from me multiple times. It eventually cost me my marriage, just like hell on earth. I came to St. Chris a little over a year ago to seek treatment for drug addiction. I was an opiate addict. The first seeds of my addiction were probably planted back in high school. Played football and baseball, and we were always getting hurt, and they were always prescribing us opiates. My first pills came from doctors. It started with stuff from the pharmaceutical industry, and it ended with, eventually fentanyl addiction, which is the only thing you could really get nowadays. Fentanyl came around, and all of a sudden what some people were doing recreationally, all of a sudden my friends were dying. I can name 25 people that I've known from high school, college, and then I've met in treatment centers that are now dead because of fentanyl. I've almost died of fentanyl, had a fentanyl overdose 5 years ago. Spent 3 months in the hospital. I had to learn how to walk again, had to learn how to talk again. I was as close to death as you can be and actually make it. It takes months just to start to feel normal again, to start to sleep, eat, use the restroom normally. Like it affects your entire body. You go into what's called acute opiate withdrawal, which is like hell on earth.
The withdrawals are crazy. Like in the past, if I tried to get off just a regular opiate, I would just jump on some Suboxone, and I'd be cool, keep it going. But it throws you into these rapids where like everything hits you all at once. The first time, it was Christmas and I went back home, and I had so much, and I was like, okay, if I do this much, it'll last me the whole time where I get back. But obviously, Christmas night I was done, so I tried to do some Suboxone, and I was feeling like sick instantly, and I didn't know what it was. So I kept doing more Suboxone. So I was to the point to where like I could barely move. The only thing I wanted was just to get high again, just to get out of this feeling, Like even just thinking about it just gives me chills, It's bad.
My name is Brandy Klingman. I am a clinical psychotherapist and a treatment center owner. Now, I've been in the industry for about 20 years, and today I'm here to talk about my experience professionally and personally with fentanyl. So someone coming in will come in high as a kite, probably on opiates or fentanyl or any other drug, and they will need to detox. And that detox off of fentanyl or any opiate is gonna look about the same. We're going to utilize Suboxone usually, or any other kind of buprenorphine, and they will slowly taper off of the buprenorphine over time. Even once they're off of the Suboxone or they're completely off of fentanyl and opiates, they still feel a weighted, like heavy wet cement type of approach to life. It's hard to feel joy, it's hard to feel light, everything feels really bogged down, and that can last weeks. And so you can imagine if someone's not in an extended treatment program, then over those period of weeks, they have a high potential for relapse. Longer term treatment has better outcomes.
And it's like a dopamine deficiency in your brain. You just don't feel good, you are unhappy, depression, anxiety, and it can last anywhere from, 3 months up to like 2 years after you get off of opiates for your whole system to totally restart. For somebody that's used to feeling good every day, that's a very tall order to ask them to feel, like crap for 2 years. It's very difficult.
It's not an easy road, You got to work on yourself, and you got to look at yourself, which I hate doing, I would do drugs to clear my anxiety or depression or something like that. And I never thought like I could do it without drugs. I was pretty much just afraid to do anything, like afraid to commit to a job, afraid to commit to a relationship, you know. It's just all that stuff just scared me, and drugs gave me comfort from it.
There's a humongous number of people with substance use disorders whose initial motivation to use drugs and alcohol is to overcome either a history of trauma or an anxiety disorder or a depressive disorder or maybe more of a severe bipolar disorder or even schizophrenia. And there's no doubt that early trauma can really affect somebody's brain and somebody's likelihood to go on to develop not only substance use disorder, but other psychiatric conditions that are that need to be treated downstream when they get older.
Before, mental health was on one side and addiction was on the other. And it was that way through the Department of Health and hospitals too. And so what I thought was it was important to create a dual diagnosis approach. And so I started a little IOP program coming 3 nights a week for men and women who are in addiction. And we really treated them from a comprehensive approach. Mental health treatment was there, psychiatric evaluations, medications for depression and anxiety, treatment for personality disorders, a holistic approach to that. And we saw positive results. It was really, really cool to see.
So this is the communal setting that the guys live in. The houses have 6 to 8 people. And the way the program is set up, it's kind of like a brotherhood where there's different phases of the program, creating like a hierarchical structure. And the guys who have been here longer, they get like more privileges and more, but with that becomes more responsibilities. So it builds like kind of a nice like older brother, younger brother dynamic and trust building in the community.
I honestly believe now that you can't do it alone, you know? You need like a brotherhood. You need help, you know? You get this bond when you're together, being vulnerable with each other, opening up, you know? Like a closest I've never had before. So that helps out a lot. And getting towards the end, like I didn't want to leave, you know? I was having a great time, you know?
If I had to be willing to admit that I was defeated and I did not know what I was doing, and to come into a place that was, you know, qualified to help me, you know, I don't think I could have done it any other way.
So this is our wellness center, and we think this is of critical importance to our guys. We notice that guys who participate in wellness and who are active in wellness tend to have better outcomes. So in the very beginning, we're doing an assessment for physical wellness. We're measuring grip strength, we're measuring weight, height, involvement in physical activity, body dysmorphia, any kind of eating issues. And we're starting from the very beginning, day one, to come up with a wellness plan for them. So that all happens in this building. And then once they're recovered, they can come back here and work out here and stay in our gym, even after they've graduated the program.
What we're looking for at St. Christopher's is gym participation. That's one of our best metrics to judge successful treatment outcomes, but then also gaining 3 pounds within the first month. That's usually a good bar to hit.
Family is usually the first that suffer because of a person's addiction. So it is a family disease, and part of the way we do treatment is we incorporate and we include the family because recovery is also a family thing that you have to get everybody involved in the process. So it's a very, very important component of treatment and recovery.
Coming here, when we would do like a family session or something, it would like I'd even know like how much it was like tearing them apart, you know? Just trying to help me, you know? That crushed me. My sister didn't want me even around her kids, which made sense, you know? I was a mess. But now they're like, where's Uncle Ryan? You know? They're FaceTiming me all the time. It's like it chokes me up even just thinking about it, you know? It's pretty cool.
You know, my biggest advocate in this has been my mom and my dad. My dad died a couple of months ago, and he was my biggest supporter. You know, he was the one who got me into St. Chris for the last time. He was, you know, and everybody's like, how in the world did you stay sober through all that? And it was kind of like in his honor, I wanted to stay sober.
you.